what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back up the Management Studio here, and I'm going to kick over to a second tab where I've already provided a good amount of code. Now, up at the very top, we have, and let me scroll on up so we can see this, a target and a source table. Now, for right now, don't worry too much about the syntax there. We're going to talk about that in a different lesson. But what I want you to notice is that there's going to be two brand new columns inside of both the target and the source table of employee ID and employee name. Then what you'll notice down below is two separate insert statements where we're going to insert in 3 values into the target table with IDs of 100 for Karin, 101 for Donna, and 102 for Christopher. And then inside the source, we're going to insert in 102, 103, 104 with Dave and Susan, and then source change. Now, the big thing that I want you to notice about the last row that we're inserting into our target and the first row that we're inserting into our source is that the IDs match. That's going to be our conflict. Let's go ahead and execute this. Now that we've created our tables, let's take a look at how to do our merge statement. So we'll open up a new query window just for simplicity's sake, and we'll say merge, and our merge statement wants to know the target first. So this is going to be DBO target as T, target table. And then it wants to know the source table, and that's going to be off of our using as S. And that's our source. And then what we need to do is identify how things are going to be matched, and that's done by utilizing an on statement. So we'll say on, and then in our case, T employee ID equals S employee ID. Then what we do is we identify what we're going to do for matched rows and unmatched rows. So when matched, then, and so what that's telling us is that the row exists in target. So let's just do an update. And so you'll notice my update statement, and my update statement is going to behave slightly differently. Normally what we would do is we would just simply say update and then the table. Well, here it already knows the table. It's going to be the target table. So we'll just say update and then set t.employee name equal to s employee name. On the flip side, if it's not matched, then we're going to say when not matched, then, and again, that's going to tell us the row doesn't exist in target. So let insert. And again, we'll say insert, but what you're going to notice is I'm going to skip right to the values because again, we already know the table that we're going to insert into. So we'll say values, and in this case, it's going to be S employee ID, and then S employee name, just like that. And then the last thing that we want to do is we want to do an output. So we'll say output, and we want the action that was performed, and that's off of $action as action. And then let's go ahead and grab from our inserted table the employee ID as new employee ID, the inserted and the employee name as new employee name, deleted employee ID as the old employee ID, and then finally deleted employee name as old employee name. Now, before we execute this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up the other little screen here, and I want to bring down the view to my couple little tables. And what you're going to notice on the target is that we've got 100 and 101, which are Karin and Donna, and those don't match in any way, shape, or form, so those will be left alone. Then we've got 102, which is going to be Christopher. Now that is being matched by the source. So what we should see is that will then become source change. So it'll have an old name of Christopher, a new name of source change. And then finally, you'll notice that Susan and Dave are 103, 104. So those are going to be brand new. So if we come back to the other query window and we hit execute, now what you're going to notice is our little actions of update and insert. You'll notice the 102, 103, 104. You'll notice the new and the old. The old for Susan and Dave are both null because they didn't exist in the first place. And the old for 102, which did exist, is Christopher. And there's a couple of advanced data modifications. I'll see you in the next lesson.